Coco Gauff breaks silence on Jasmine Paolini's struggles after WTA Finals showdown. When Coco Gauff fell to Jessica Pegula in her WTA Finals opener, it was clear she'd have to dig deeper if she wanted a shot at the semi-finals. Fast forward a couple of days and the 21-year-old walked in chasing history, hoping to follow in the footsteps of her idol, Serena Williams, by becoming the first player since Serena's 2014 three-peat to successfully defend the WTA Finals crown. This time, Gauff didn't just rise to the occasion as she made sure her dream stayed alive, she did it in style. In a high-energy showdown at the WTA Finals, defending champion Coco Gauff powered past Italy's Jasmine Paolini 6-3, 6-2 on Tuesday. Even her streaky service game was long forgotten as she went from 17 DFs against Pegula to just 3 this time. The dominant straight sets win kept the American firmly in the hunt for a semi-final berth at the season-ending championship. And when the match was over, Gauff had a few words for her opponent during her on-court interview. According to the report of the Tennis Gazette, "I don't think Jasmine Paolini was 100% today, so I would like to give her well wishes for her next matches today," Coco Gauff said confidently. "Playing singles and doubles is not easy," she further added. Later, speaking about her own performance, the two-time Grand Slam champion said, "I'm really happy with how I played today. It's definitely a turnaround from my first match, but the beauty of this tournament is that you get another chance to prove yourself," Gauff added. "Hopefully I can do well in my next one to give myself a chance to stay in the tournament." The third seed wasted no time taking control, racing to a 4-1 lead before a couple of double faults allowed Paolini to break back. But Gauff immediately responded, breaking again with a trademark cross-court backhand and closing out the 40-minute opener with a love hold. The Italian started the second set with more consistency, yet some outstanding defense from Gauff in the fifth game turned the tide once again. From there, the American stayed composed, consolidating the break for a 4-2 lead. Paolini, however, had been dealing with illness upon arriving at the tournament, and it showed. She looked out of sorts as Gauff broke again, sealing the match with a confident serving display and sharp forehands. With her hopes hanging by a thread, Paolini faces elimination if Jessica Pegula upsets world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka later today. So what Jasmine Paolini does next will be left to be seen. But it seems Coco Gauff has already set her eyes on her next target. What is it, you ask? Coco Gauff is playing the long game and winning it too. As reported by the UAE outlet The National, Coco Gauff, when speaking about her dreams, said, "I'm not thinking about that. I really just want to focus on my first match ahead and take it one match at a time. I think that's what I did last year. Going to try to keep that mindset. I know it's been a long time since anyone defended, so it's like, okay, I hope I'm that person," she said with a smile before her match against her Italian opponent. "But if not, whatever. When you're playing this tournament, your expectations, at least for me personally, aren't that high because you're playing the top 8 in the world." With that, it's clear she's truly locked in on taking things one match at a time. But after pulling off a successful title defense, there's little doubt that Coco Gauff has cemented her place as the natural successor to Serena Williams' legacy on the WTA Tour. So, with her confidence and consistency on full display, how far do you see Coco Gauff going this season? When the dust settled in Riyadh and the lights dimmed after an intense WTA Finals battle, Coco Gauff stepped forward, not just as a competitor, but as a voice of empathy and maturity. The 21-year-old American, known for her fiery athleticism and bold fashion sense, surprised the tennis world by addressing not her own performance, but that of her opponent, Jasmine Paolini. Their WTA Finals showdown had been a display of contrasts. Power versus precision, youth versus experience, raw emotion versus calm composure. Yet behind the fierce exchanges and the weight of expectations, Gauff recognized something deeper, the quiet struggle of an opponent fighting her own invisible battles. In a rare moment of openness after the match, Gauff broke her silence about Paolini's recent form, calling attention to what many in tennis circles had whispered about, the Italian's waning confidence and visible frustration throughout the closing stages of the season. "I've been there," Gauff said with a soft sigh during her post-match press conference. "When you're trying to find your rhythm and nothing seems to click, it's easy to feel like the world's watching you fall apart. But Jasmine's too good of a player not to bounce back. Sometimes it's not about the game, it's about getting your spirit back." That comment struck a chord across the tennis community. It wasn't just a show of sportsmanship, it was a glimpse into Gauff's evolution from teenage phenom to thoughtful leader. A battle beyond the baseline. The match itself had been a tightly contested duel, filled with baseline exchanges and emotional swings. Gauff's athleticism and defensive prowess shone early, while Paolini, though technically sharp, struggled to maintain her trademark aggression. Observers noted how her shoulders drooped between points, how she occasionally looked toward her box with pleading eyes, a silent cry for guidance. Gauff, who had experienced similar moments during her early years on tour, seemed to understand. She played with intensity but without cruelty, celebrating her own shots but never indulging in the kind of over-the-top celebrations that could demoralize an already shaken opponent. Afterward, she admitted that she could feel Paolini struggle across the net. "You can sense it sometimes," Gauff explained. "When you're both out there, it's not just about who hits harder, it's about who believes more. Jasmine's game is there. Her heart's there. She just needs to give herself grace." The weight of expectations. For Jasmine Paolini, the WTA finals marked both a milestone and a mountain. The Italian had stunned the tennis world earlier in the season with a breakout performance in the French Open semifinals and a steady climb into the world's top 10. But success, as Gauff knows all too well, can be its own burden. Paolini entered the finals carrying the hopes of Italian tennis and the pressure of proving that her surge wasn't a fluke. Her form, however, betrayed signs of fatigue, both physical and mental. Gauff's comments acknowledged what few athletes dare to say out loud: the loneliness of expectation. "People see you smiling on the court, but they don't see the tears in the locker room," Gauff added in her ESPN interview later that evening. "We all have days where we doubt ourselves. It doesn't mean we're weak, it means we care." Those words could just as easily have been a reflection of Gauff's own past. Gauff's mirror moment. It wasn't long ago that Gauff herself was in Paolini's position, struggling under the microscope of fame, her serve dissected, her maturity questioned. Her loss at the 2023 Australian Open, followed by a frustrating summer, had pushed her to the brink. Yet she rebounded with resilience, winning her first Grand Slam title at the 2023 US Open and reminding the world that growth often blooms from adversity. Now, as a seasoned competitor,